If you're trying to start Amazon FBA in 2026, there's one thing that you need to hear before you waste months doing product research, ordering random samples, and convincing yourself that some old strategy still works just because a guy on YouTube said so. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what works on YouTube today. The best way to sell on Amazon FBA in 2026 is not retail arbitrage, and it's not some wholesale strategy. And honestly, it is not the old school private label where you grab a generic product, slap a logo on it, run ads, and hope that it will work. That game is simply too crowded right now. Most beginners do not fail on Amazon because Amazon stopped working. They fail because they are repeating strategies that worked 10 years ago in a completely different market. I personally fell for this myself. I heard someone say, just find the product, put your logo on it, run ads, and then I spent months trying to make this method work. The problem is the market moved forward. The sellers who are doing well today are not guessing products anymore. They are building brands around specific groups of buyers. That shift changes everything. The reason I need to say that clearly right away is because beginners keep getting sold the same dream. Find a random product, put your logo on it, launch it with ads, and then you sit there waiting to see if it ranks, waiting for reviews to come in, or trying to keep the margins alive while you are being outcompeted with so much competition because Amazon has become oversaturated, and you're hoping that Amazon fees do not slowly eat whatever profit is left. That is not a business model. That is stress with packaging, really. And the crazy part is that Amazon is still one of the biggest opportunities in the world for beginners. Now, independent sellers account for more than 60% of all sales on Amazon. And in 2024 alone, US independent sellers averaged more than $290,000 in annual sales, and more than 55,000 sellers crossed the $1 million mark. The gold mine is real. The problem is that most people are walking into the gold mine with the wrong map. So the question is not whether Amazon still works. The real question is, what is the best way to sell on Amazon in 2026? And because many of the old methods that used to work do not work the same way anymore, and the strategy that is working best right now is building what is called a niche branding. Niche branding is selling something for a very specific group of people who already want something made for them. Not a broad market, not a generic audience, a niche, a group of people with shared interest. They have a preference and a clear reason to buy. For example, think about dog brushes. Selling a generic dog brush means competing with hundreds of listings that all look the same. Now imagine a brush specifically designed for golden retrievers. The product, the images, and the wording are clearly now focused on golden retriever owners. If someone is searching for a brush for their golden retriever, immediately feels like the product was made for them. This is niche branding. Once you understand how Amazon really works, you realize that Amazon is basically a search engine with a checkout page attached to it. People go there already know what they want. They type the product into the search bar and Amazon shows the listing that best matches their search. The better approach in 2026 is starting from the opposite direction. So find the niche first. Understand what that group of people already want. Look at what they are searching for. Look at what problems they still have. Then build the product around that demand. The competition becomes so much easier to deal with. That process is not complicated. And the best way to sell on Amazon in 2026 really comes down to these 5 steps that I'm going to share with you. Research, validate, brand, launch, and then scale. The reason this order matters is because each step reduces the risk before you move on to the next one. So instead of guessing your way forward, every step gives you more confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. So the first place to start is research. And research is where most beginners make their first big mistake. Most people start by hunting for products instead of hunting for what people are searching for. And what that means is that beginners usually open Amazon and start scrolling through the bestsellers page. They search maybe random categories. They look for something that looks popular. Maybe they check TikTok trends. Maybe they open Helium 10 and start looking at random listings. Or maybe they just have their heart set at a specific type of product, but the question they are trying to answer is the wrong one. What product can I sell? That question sounds logical, but it usually leads to a crowded idea. A better question is, what group of people is already searching for something more specific than what Amazon is currently serving? That small shift changes the entire research process. Instead of starting with a product idea, you start with a group of buyers. For example, imagine the broad market is hydration products. That category is massive. Thousands of products, millions of searches. Then you go one level deeper into electrolytes. It's still a big, broad search, and it's still competitive. Then you start noticing a smaller group inside that market. Some people are searching for sugar-free electrolytes. Some follow a carnivore diet. Some care about a very specific ingredient or flavor profile. Now the market is becoming more focused, and that is where the opportunities start appearing. Those buyers are not just looking for electrolytes, they are looking for electrolytes that match their lifestyle or diet, or they're looking for a specific type of electrolytes. The product is no longer generic, it is built around that specific type of buyer. The same logic works in many categories. A generic dog brush competes with hundreds of similar products, but a golden retriever dog brush is built for a specific type of dog owner. Carnivore jerky and carnivore electrolytes target a very specific diet. Now, the product itself may look simple, but the positioning creates the advantage. Once you start seeing markets this way, the research process becomes much clearer. That leads to the next step, which is validation. Validation simply means confirming that the demand you believe actually exists on Amazon. An idea can sound great in your head, but the only thing that really matters is whether people are actively searching for it. This is where tools like Helium 10 is very, very essential. You can look at the keywords that people type into Amazon and see if those niche searches are actually high in demand or have high search volume. Ultimately, Amazon is a search engine, and people go to Amazon to search for products they want to buy. Helium 10 allows us to tap into that information. It's a market research tool that allows us to see how much people are searching on Amazon. And you can see what are they typing exactly on Amazon. You also do not want to look only to broad keywords. Broad keywords usually attract the most competition. Instead of only looking at something like electrolytes, you want to see whether people are searching for more specific terms connected to that niche. Now, the same idea applies to something like a dog brush. The broad keyword may be crowded, but more specific searches can reveal smaller opportunities. That is often where the real opportunity sits, not in the obvious keywords where everyone sees. Now, while validating the niche, there's also a few practical filters that beginners should keep in mind, and one of the most important ones are margins. The product should realistically reach at a minimum around 25% profit margin after all the main costs are included. That means the product cost, the shipping cost, Amazon fees, and other expenses that are involved in selling on the platform. Now, if the numbers do not make sense at this stage, the business becomes very difficult to run later. Even if the product sells well, weak margins can quickly turn a promising idea into a stressful one. That is why research and validation work together. Research helps you identify the niche, validation confirms the demand is real, and the numbers make sense. Once those pieces are in place, the next step becomes much easier: branding. And branding is where many beginners get confused because the word branding sounds like design work. People immediately think about logos, colors, packaging, or hiring a designer. Those things are part of branding, but they are not the starting point. Branding on Amazon is about clarity. It is making sure that the right buyer immediately understands who the product is for. Think about the golden retriever dog brush. If someone owns a golden retriever and searches for a dog brush, they will see dozens of listings, and most of them look generic. Now imagine a listing that clearly says golden retriever dog brush. The image shows the dog brush being used on a golden retriever. This becomes very clear that this product is for a golden retriever dog owner. The product itself may not be very different from other brushes, but the positioning is completely different. That is branding. And another example would be electrolytes, a generic electrolyte product that competes with hundreds of other listings, but a sugar-free electrolyte that is designed specifically for people that are following a specific diet immediately becomes more relevant for a smaller group of buyers who already care about those ingredients. And when someone from that niche searches, it quickly becomes clear that this product is built for them. This is why niche branding works so well on Amazon. The goal is not to compete with everyone in the category. The goal is to become the obvious choice for a smaller group of buyers. Once the branding direction is clear, you can build the listing around that niche. The name should clearly communicate who the product is for. The main image should quickly show the product and the type of buyer it is meant for. The bullet points should explain why the product fits that buyer better than the generic alternatives. Amazon customers move very quickly. People scroll fast down on Amazon and they compare very quickly. Most decisions happen within seconds. If the listings look generic, the buyer is just going to keep scrolling, or they're just going to look at listings with high and good reviews. However, if the listing clearly matches what they are searching for, now it becomes much easier to capture their attention. Strong positioning can also reduce dependence on ads. Many Amazon sellers rely heavily on PPC because their product looks like every other listing. The only way they can get visibility is by paying for traffic. But that becomes super expensive over time. When the positioning is clear and the listing aligns with what the buyer is searching for, organic search can start working in your favor. Now, after branding, the next practical step is budget and inventory planning. This is where many beginners take unnecessary risks. Some people try to start Amazon with almost no budget and struggle with poor product quality. They spend too much money before they have any proof that the product will sell well or how much frequently it's going to sell. So for most beginners, a realistic launch budget often falls somewhere between $500 and $4,000 depending on the product category and complexity. Now, the goal at this stage is not to build a massive inventory. The goal is to test the idea and see how much turnover you're going to get and keeping your risk at a manageable minimum. For example, an initial order of around 500 units is common for many beginner sellers. In some situations, sellers start with around 300 units to sell while keeping another 200 units ready either with their supplier or at their home or at their warehouse, or now you have the option to send inventory into Amazon AWD. You can ship your products quickly into Amazon if the product starts selling rapidly. Now, numbers like this allow you to test the market without putting yourself under heavy financial pressure, and the product will start paying for itself without you having to put a large investment into a large inventory. That feedback is extremely valuable. When the inventory plan is clear and the listing is ready, the next stage becomes the launch. Launching a product on Amazon is not simply sending inventory to a warehouse and waiting for sales. A good launch begins before the product even reaches the Amazon warehouse. This is where the listing should already be prepared. The title should include the main keywords that buyers are searching for. The images should be clearly branded and directed towards that specific niche market. The bullet points should explain the benefits of the product, but they also should include high search volume keywords. And this is good for optimizing your listing to pop up on other search results as well. So when the listing goes live, the goal is simple here. Help the right buyer immediately understand why this product is for them. So reducing the amount of time it takes to make a decision to purchase a product is very essential. Once the product begins selling consistently, the final stage becomes scaling. Scaling simply means increasing what is already working. So for example, imagine the golden retriever dog brush begins selling consistently, or the sugar-free electrolytes start selling consistently. And if you do follow these formulas, those products are almost guaranteed to start selling because they're verified and validated by product research and market research. If you learn the simple process that we teach in the Passion Product Accelerator program, the goal is one of two things. You can either use the flywheel method, where you can promote your product on TikTok, on social media, and start doubling your sales in no time. And the other way is to find another valid product idea and launch it on Amazon. This is a repeatable process that you can use to have multiple products that generate you almost passive income in your sleep. Scaling can also mean ordering more inventory once your sales stabilize. And sometimes scaling also means expanding the product line for the same group of buyers by doing variations of the product. Now, when you approach the process this way, the business becomes so much easier and a lot more predictable. You start by finding a niche, you validate that real buyers are searching for it, and you build a product that fits what those buyers want. Then you launch the product and scale from there. Now, we've launched 8 products in the last 2 years, and we've made over $1 million in sales. The opportunity on Amazon, it's still massive. Millions of people search for products every single day. But the advantage today does not come from selling random products. The advantage comes from finding a specific group of buyers and building something that fits them better than any generic options that they currently see. But I didn't do all this alone. I didn't find real success on Amazon until I partner up with a mentor. And in Travis's Amazon FBA program, the Passion Product Formula, you will have access to over 100 in-depth, step-by-step tutorials that guide you every step of the way. You'll also get one-on-one coaching sessions that are tailored to your specific journey, as well as live weekly Q&As with Travis and other Amazon experts who can answer every question that you've got. And not just that, you will be invited into an exclusive community with other Amazon sellers and experts to support you, help you, and even become your first customers. So click the link in the description to set up your strategy call today. If you're not ready to join that Amazon FBA program just yet, I want to give you this 12-hour Amazon FBA course that breaks down every step in more detail. And the best part, that it's completely free just by clicking right here. And if you're still here, I want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I want to help you succeed on Amazon because I wish there was someone to help me when I first got started.